cool, isn't it? I'm Zach Fyeth, and today we are going to be covering the Beaver Lake Landfill and how it's in such close proximity to this beautiful lake, known as Beaver Lake, located in Biche County.
Beaver Lake Landfill is a sanitary landfill where waste is buried either underground or in large piles. The landfill is approximately 2 kilometers away from Beaver Lake's shoreline, which can be concerning with the risk of contamination that may leach its way into groundwater and work its way downhill towards Beaver Lake. Beaver Lake is mainly fed by groundwater and natural spring systems, which contaminants could possibly be seeping into these groundwater systems, causing potential environmental problems for the way of life for all inhabiting organisms within Beaver Lake and the surrounding wetlands. We are here with Kyle Benyuk, who is the Agriculture and Environment Operations Coordinator, who will be discussing environmental practices regarding with the landfill.
As the operations coordinator for the agriculture and environmental operations for Biche County, my responsibilities are to ensure all 5 transfer stations and 2 landfills that belong to Biche County follow all regulatory requirements. Our operators, as well as our contractors and the public on site, are all safe. I'm also responsible for reviewing all operations of our landfills and ensuring that we promote the environmental awareness to our staff and to the public to make sure they're good stewards of the land.
When did Beaver Lake Landfill essentially become a landfill?
The operation started in 1979 as a municipal sanitary landfill. In 2005, the landfill was registered with the province of Alberta under the Code of Practice for Landfills. We are a Class 2 facility operating under the Code of Practice. This means we can take materials from all non-hazardous waste streams up to a maximum of 10,000 metric tons per year.
How much garbage enters this site on a yearly basis?
Our activity is usually seasonally driven, so it starts ramping up in the late spring, followed by construction and yard work season in the 3rd and 4th quarters. The 1st and 4th quarters usually have more colder weather, and they are typically less active. So that usually, on average, though, leaves us with a monthly intake of about 1,185 metric tons. We also have a monthly curbside that generates an extra 7 metric tons. For an annual perspective, as of September ending, we're at about 9,865 metric tons, which is approximately 30% of the total, which approximately 30% of this total is diverted and recycled. In Alberta, however, we do generate more waste per capita than any other province, which is quite alarming. As far as Biche County goes this year, metric tons to date, we're at about 1,003 kilograms based on a 9,500 population. This is right on average with the StatsCan figures, which sets Alberta at about 997 as far as the 2014 StatsCan, but we definitely have to do better at diverting more waste in Alberta.
What kind of recycling program does Biche County carry out?
Well, Biche County, as well as Alberta, is proud of its many diversion programs. These include, but aren't limited to, programs for tires, as we see we're standing here with today, metal, some plastics, cardboard. We do paper products and electronics. In addition, we divert other products from general waste disposal streams, such as soil. We'll use it for our day-to-day cover. Concrete we'll crush and use for our road program. And also wood. We'll chip our wood and we'll also use it for cover in the winter months.
I'm Eddie from KK Recycling. I run this machine. It's called a baler. These are my rafts. There's one on this side, one on the opposite side. Once both doors are closed with the material inside, the rams will come out and squeeze it down to 27,000 psi. And then once it hits that, it automatically releases and starts opening, and then the doors will open. Then we grab the bales, stick it up beside us, and that's about it.
Thank you, Eddie. You can see all the bales here, and they get shredded up, right?
Yep. It goes through the shredder. It goes sent to Janelta. It goes through the shredder, and it becomes little tiny beads. And at Janelta itself, once it goes through the shredder, plastic and dirt and garbage will go to one side, and then the steel all goes to the other side, and the non-ferrous also comes out to another side.
Metal is a sought-out resource that is important to recycle as much of it as possible in our landfills. Metals are in all sorts of materials that we rely and depend on. There are two groups of metals that are often recovered from landfills. Ferrous metals are magnetic and contain iron. Your non-ferrous are metal alloys like aluminum and copper, which can be quite valuable and is in high demand.
This is what we call 80-20. This stuff here too, and then 80% really good steel, 20% half-ass, and then it all gets mixed together. But we take this, we ship it back to our yard. There's a big processing shear. We cut it down to 4 feet, and then it gets shipped from there to the mill. They'll melt it all down. They make these long steel shafts, and then they load that out to different mills to make different metals. And we also have the non-ferrous. Is over here. Some of it, he has a little bit mixed in there, but there's copper, brass, stainless, aluminum, and what we do with that is send it back to our Edmonton yards, and then they'll send that down to Toronto, and they'll separate all the different non-ferrouses, and then they'll send that to a different mill.
Beaver Lake is home to many species of wildlife that depend on the resources that this lake provides for them. It's crucial for us to take care and manage this lake properly without risking any pollutants and contaminants from entering this lake.
Lac-La-Biche County is proud that we have a really active core program, which is a recycling program that we have rolled out through our community, attracting a large amount of people to do backyard composting. County Council supports protecting all of our water bodies. To do this, the county has undertaken a lake sampling program. This is one of the few select programs in the province where water bodies are identified and ranked. This helps chart a course for future development policies. The sampling program also illustrates the impact that different factors like surface water runoff are having on our lakes. We've also removed our cap off our oil program. Until recently, we'd only accept up to 20 liters of oil. We now accept an unlimited amount, and we're hoping this reduces the amount of oil getting poured out on roads, dropped off in ditches, and brought to our facility to be recycled. In the recent years, we've also added recycling containers to all our transfer stations for cardboard, plastic, paper, and this has been taken up huge by residents. Last but not least, Lac-La-Biche County is leading the charge. We have formed an internal green team, and we're looking at what we can do further ourselves to promote green initiatives from within. It all mainly comes down to having a committed operator, which we feel we have great committed operators that go above and beyond when it comes to environment. As an example, we had a local trapper that is adjacent to our landfill that was concerned about the water quality coming off site. We instantly went out, we worked with him, we went and did water samples with him, and results came back good that we are not affecting the water off of our landfill.
Leachate is any liquid material that runs off of the landfill, such as methanes, organic acids, and alcohols. This pond collects the leachate and prevents it from flowing into the groundwater. There is still a possibility that the contaminant pond may have some design flaws that could possibly be contaminating groundwater without them even knowing, unless we take adequate samples from nearby groundwater wells and springs. Pollutants can come in many forms and can cause countless negative effects to the environment. It's crucial to properly dispose as much pollutants as possible in a controlled manner that ensures the safety of the surrounding ecosystem. It's very important we limit as much exposure of pollutants to reduce the risks of environmental and health problems. For example, refrigerants contain freon and other fluorocarbons that can cause thinning of the ozone layer and can cause respiratory problems. These fluorocarbons are extracted from the containers behind the refrigerants and are properly disposed of. A neat device that the landfill recently got is a bulb eater that crushes fluorescent light bulbs and vacuums vaporized mercury within the bulbs.
So one of the ways landfill disposes fluorescent light bulbs is with the bulb eater here, as you can see. Fluorescent bulb goes through this chute and is crushed within this container. There we see there's a HEPA filter that is pretty much a vacuum that sucks up the vaporized mercury and is stored within the filter and is later shipped off where it can be disposed of properly. Beaver Lake landfill practicing their environmental laws and doing a real good job at it. There's still probably definitely contaminants that are entering Beaver Lake. It's probably minimum amount of contaminants. It's not going to be a large scale big effect. It'd probably be affecting the microbes that are within the lake, but it's definitely it's still safe to swim and drink out of that lake. But definitely nearby wetlands like ponds and all that are a lot closer to the landfill could have large scale effects that could possibly be quite contaminated. But Beaver Lake landfill is doing a great job at diverting as much waste as possible from entering their sites, and they have a really good recycling program to ensure that as much material is getting reused as possible. It's not sitting there and just doing nothing, serving no purpose. But Beaver Lake is definitely not in the greatest location. There's definitely a lot of environmental concerns where it is, and it's not their fault that it's in a poor location. They can't move all that waste into a new, safer location. It's just not possible. There's so much waste there. You just can't. But they are really working hard at minimizing as much contaminants and other environmental problems as possible. And in doing so, they have groundwater wells around the landfill, and they're monitoring that. And so far, they've come out pretty clean, pretty standard. And they have a really good lakeland sampling system. So they, monitor and take lake samples all around Biche County, and so they're doing a really good job at that and making sure our lakes are clean and safe for everybody to enjoy. Beaver Lake is my home, and I want future generations to have what I have. Its beauty, its wonder. I really enjoy this lake, and I hope future generations can enjoy as much as I have.